Hi, and welcome to the first of many Overwatch video commentary series by D.VH. Today's video, I'm going to be focusing on a cheese strategy on Nepal. A couple of friends and I are going to group together, and we're going to take on 3 D.VAs and then build kind of a team around that. One of the things we kind of talk about here is the idea of bringing in, what would be the right support for this. You could make a case for Mercy, certainly being able to res if the D.VAs die on the point makes a lot of sense. But what we ended up opting for, which I think makes a little bit more sense, is the aura-based healer in Lucio. So we're going to go with a Lucio, a Soldier 76, and then I'm actually struggling to figure out. I think we go with a Junkrat for the 6. We'll have to take a look here. But what's really cool about this particular strategy on a control map is going to be the the challenge that, especially a pub, but even a well put together team where they're working as a group of 6. How do you counter this? So that's something towards the end of the video that I'll come back and kind of give some tips and advice as if I were coaching the other team, what they could have done once they saw this happening. Remember, in Overwatch, they don't know what we're doing right now. Of course, we don't know what they're doing either. So once you get into this scenario that the team is going to find themselves in, the opposing team, you really need to react quickly. This is not your typical balanced, we've got a couple of assault, we've got a tank, we've got a sniper or two, and then 1 or 2 support. This is a cheese strategy, and I think it works actually remarkably well. So here, the harass from May is going to become a problem here in the first couple of seconds, and this is their opportunity to have made an impact on this game. Once we get a toehold, it becomes very difficult for them to get back. So at this point now, we are basically set up, and what we're going to do, and you're going to see us doing this, is we're basically going to keep them off the point and make life very difficult for them by comboing up not only D.Va's fast maneuverability in her shift, but also anytime that they were to put together any type of projectile-based spam. Of course, they actually have a May and a Zarya, which is not projectile-based, but when they try and do that, we'll just use our E key ability and basically more or less absorb what they're doing. So we're just going to auto-attack everything. In fact, you're going to see in a second here when this Reinhardt, when he dies here and we come back. But you see, they come in, we get out, you notice we got 1 up front, 1 in the middle, and then 1 behind. So we're staying spread out, so any type of AoE type damage that they're trying to do to us is very ineffective. And then of course Lucio makes life a real pain for them with not only his ulti, but just his general heal over time is taking that 500 point health and bringing it right back up. At this point, we're just spamming, and so here the Reinhardt. Not a bad idea, let's bring Reinhardt in, but if you've got 3 D.VAs staring him down, not to mention the harass of a Junkrat causing issues and making things just more difficult for you, but then also a Soldier 76 taking some accurate auto fire from a distance, it's a headache, it's such a headache. What's really cool here, in a second, you're going to see us actually start to take on using the ultis, and we're going to chain these together. I thought this was a clever idea. So instead of using them all at once and really being pretty ineffective, we're going to actually use them 1 at a time. So I think I'll use mine first. Here it goes. Charge it in there. I love that attempted May ice block wall. That's such a clever idea. In fact, if she'd have nailed that, could have given them a chance to recouple. Mine didn't get any kills, but then the second one did. Now here goes the third one, and it's going to take out another wave. Now, I'm sorry you can't see it because I got frozen. But there goes another 3. So it's 1 after another, and it's really demoralizing. Not only are they on the clock, we're at 92%, they've got to rush in, and that's, I think, part of the fun of D.Va on a map like this, is that they have to make quick decisions. There's not a lot of time to really think it through and react and group together. So that's an unfortunate, already now they're down 1 in a match. We're not going to change anything. We're going to keep the exact same group and then see what we can do. And what I think is interesting now as the opposing team is you've now seen this. So not only did you not react effectively to it the first time around, but you now know what we're going to do. It would be very strange for us with that kind of success. I'm not even sure how many kills they got, to be honest. I think they got a couple, but certainly not many that I can even recognize. You got to rethink. You got to think, what do you do? So what are options for this? When I sat down and thought about it afterwards, I came up with 2 ideas. I thought each would have been effective from a different way. One is kind of an AoE damage strat. So you're basically going to put together a couple of Pharahs, you're going to put together a couple of Junkrats, and your job is really to build up their ultis. Now, of course, specifically Pharah's ult is really hard countered by the E ability that D.Va has. If Pharah goes up and starts launching those, specifically if it's just 1 at a time, you're going to just toss that up, it's going to absorb it, and she's going to die. And D.Va doesn't even take really any of the damage. So I don't suggest this strategy by the way of Pharah's ult. Junkrat's a different story. Like take this map for example right here. Both of these we have to stand on the point for the most part. Now we're harassing right now. We've not only got control of the point, but we are slowly coming off the point. I almost died right there actually, and then going back to Lucio to heal up. Going to leave the point and harass, but imagine, especially in the beginning, that after this first point, where we keep retreating to the point to hold it, if you had a couple of Junkrats tossing their ults in, you could actually clear the point. How you hold it with that group, I think, is harder. So you would probably want to put in a Reinhardt, which they have. They actually went with 2 Reinhardts. And again, I struggle without anything to support that. Picking a couple of Reapers, I think they've got a Soldier 76. It's just not enough here to make it happen. So what I would have done in their case, I would have picked up, I think a Mercy's not a bad idea. I would have gone with a couple of Junkrats, a couple of Pharahs, and then maybe a Reinhardt to stand up front. A Widowmaker in the distance or a Hanzo actually would be really interesting. Not only can you get a headshot on D.Va, something that not everyone knows, she does have actually quite a large hitbox on her head, from the front only of course, but you also have Hanzo's ult would be fantastic to get people to move off the point. So that's one idea. The other idea I thought about that I think would be actually potentially even more devastating to a cheese strategy like this in particular would be a Wombo combo ult based on something like a Zarya or a Mei or both that's really going to centralize and stop everybody, and then comboing it with a Tracer ult. It's going to do a massive amount of damage. Hanzo would be another pick in that I think would be really great. So really, you see that we're collecting the point. Your job is to kind of not try and rush in like they're doing one by one or even a couple at a time and take it back, and more instead focus your efforts on getting pickoffs, getting kills from a distance, particularly with things like Hanzo, and using Zarya and Tracer as just kind of an annoyance factor behind the scenes and up front to build up your ults. And then once your team has them, coordinate together. And this is the challenging part, particularly in a pub. But build up those charges together to be able to then set it up. Get your Zarya to drop hers, get Mei to drop hers on the point. Again, here's the hard part. If you get your Zarya ult off, you're in good shape, but if it's just Mei, D.Va can very quickly run and charge off, and suddenly it didn't have any impact at all. But using the Tracer ult, I think makes a ton of sense. So there you go, it's a very quick 2-0, and a really fun strategy. I had a ton of fun doing this with my friend, and I think that anybody, I mean, this could be done in a pub. Countering it, I think, in a pub is a lot harder, but getting a couple of people to play D.Va and then pick it up, I think Lucio is the actual most important tertiary component to this, but I do love the Soldier 76 pick with the Junkrat, because they're just, again, not only high offensive potential with 76, but to finish the kills that D.Va's setting up, because she doesn't have a lot of offensive power, particularly the way that we were playing them from a distance. But Junkrat just providing that chaos factor to make this even more difficult to deal with. It's a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed watching the video. Subscribe if you'd like to see more.